All right, if I could have your attention up here. Okay, thank you. Yesterday, 4.2 extra practice. I really want to get time for you to work on your assignment today, so I want to go through any questions you had on this to begin with. First thing, take it out, compare your answers with your neighbors. Make sure you're checking work with each other. Okay, so we'll go through the answers and go over any questions. So 1 through 3, you put up the answers, and then you can ask questions on them. So that is what I've got, and please note on mine, I've just kind of used different shapes, which is another strategy to identify your like terms. Some students like it, some students don't. Some have no preference at all. But number 1, negative 5x squared plus x plus 26. Number 2, make sure you're distributing that negative 1 in. That's a key piece there. So whenever you have that minus sign, it's like you're bringing in that negative, and the same thing happens on number 3. Okay, or adding the opposite of everything in the back quantity there. So flipping all those signs. So number 2, 7x squared minus 36x plus 11, and number 3, negative x cubed minus 8x squared plus 17, plus 17x minus 15. Questions on 1 through 3? Okay, how many got them? All right, very good. If you made a mistake, just know where you made the mistake. Numbers 4 and 5, let's talk about those two first. Well, maybe number 4, since number 5 is such a big problem there. Number 4, you're just distributing in 4x to the 5th minus 2x to the 4th plus 6x cubed minus 10x squared. This key has not been checked, so make sure you're double checking my work as well. It's just distributed property. Remember, when you're multiplying your exponents, x squared times x cubed is x to the 5th. You're adding the two powers. Okay. Number 5, a little tougher, but if you use the distributive property, that's what I've got. The first line is when I did x to the 4th. The second line, so that would have given me this right here. The second line is when I multiplied by negative 10, x squared. And the third line would have been when I multiplied by 25. Looking at those colors, I know you guys see those colors. How many watched Monday Night Football or Thursday Night Football last night? I had to turn it off. I couldn't tell. I am red-green colorblind, so everyone looked green on that. It's like dudes tackling their own player. It's ridiculous. I was so upset. I had to turn it off. It was messing me up. I was like really not happy with Thursday Night Football. I was like pumped to watch some football. It was red and green. I was like, okay, first my wife's like, oh, dude, it's Christmas. It's so neat. And I'm like, yeah, that's so neat, except for us that are colorblind and we can't see who's on whose team. She goes, just look at the stripes on the pants. I'm like, the stripes? I'm looking at the guy hitting the other guy. Well, red and green, they all looked green to me. Every player on that field until they got really close. I don't want to go through what color am I wearing. It just annoyed me right there. I was so upset. Darn football. All right, anyway, with that being said, that's the answer there. Okay, it was a frustrating evening. Now I have to wait till Sunday for football. All right. I almost went to the NFL Network and watched some more. Okay, so number 6, I had a couple questions on how to go about that one. Multiply, doesn't matter which two you multiply first, which two binomials. I just chose the first two. Multiplied the x plus 1 times x minus 2 together, and then multiplied the trinomial by the binomial. Get x cubed plus 5x squared minus 8x minus 12. So key is to leave that trail of work. The same thing on number 7. I multiplied binomial by binomial, those first two. And then multiplied each one of those by, in that trinomial, by the back binomial. Now remember, if it's helpful to you, if it gets really complex when you get to this point right here, then just use the area model method. Okay? Where you say this is 4 minus 5x here. And negative 2x squared plus 15x minus 18. No, as long as you treat them as their individual terms, and at the end write it in standard form. So I give you your negative 8x squared, your 60x, your negative 72, your 10x cubed, your 75x squared, 75x squared, and your 90x. Okay, and then grabbing your individual pieces. Okay, I guess the x cubed would go first there. So 10x cubed minus 8x squared. And then maybe just crossing them out as you use them. If you're, oops, got those two. So got the both x squareds there. That's a negative also. So that's negative 83x squared. You got your 150x and your negative 72. So it's kind of up to you in the route you go. I obviously didn't use this route, but some students it helps them out quite a bit. Any questions up through 7? All right, number 8. Number 8 is a special pattern. If you can recognize it, saves you some time. It's the difference of two perfect squares. You have the 3y minus 8 and 3y plus 8. It's the same term on each end of the binomial with the exception it's plus and minus in the middle. So you just square the front, square the back, put a minus. There you got it. If not, you could have worked through it just like you did any other binomial times binomial, and you would have got the same thing. You just would add 0y in the middle. And number 9, I used Pascal's triangle to expand it. We did a lot of these yesterday. You probably did one like this in our warm-up, just with a different variable. Okay. But then again, using Pascal's triangle, the 1, 3, 3, 1 is our coefficients. This is my A term. This is my B term. So this is A, and that's B. Okay, as we go through it. Yeah, Mackenzie? If you just multiplied it out, that's fine as well. Yep. You should get the same thing. Okay, and last 2, I used Pascal's triangle for. Let's do one at a time. So number 10. Okay, once again, on this one, this is A. Negative 2 is B. So as you're plugging these in, remember your powers, 4 plus 0, should always equal 4 when you're plugging it into your initial setup here. That just represents your A and B. Okay, so whatever's in this position goes there. Whatever's in that position goes there. Power-wise, you're counting up downward. And then B-wise, you're counting upward the other direction. How many got 10? Okay, how many figured out where their mistake was if they didn't get it? Okay, it's your goal today. All right, number 11. If you need more practice with these, make sure you pick out some in the book and try them. The odd number problems are in the back. There you got it. Then it's a 5th degree. So that's your A, that's your B. Your powers always add up to whatever degree you started with. So 0 plus 5 is 5, 1 plus 4 is 5, 2 plus 3, 3 plus 2, 4 plus 1, and 5 plus 0. Okay, any questions? All right. Let's go ahead and